Hey everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and this is your first video, then ignore everything I'm about to say. However, if you have been sending me messages and leaving me comments saying, Lisa, where are you? You haven't made a video forever. Are you one of these girls that meets a guy and then dumps all her friends? No, I'm not. So I thought we could catch up. I have 6 books to share with you today. They're all nonfiction, but don't click away. I think there are a variety of topics that are fairly interesting. I've read 2 of them. I'm halfway through the big one on the bottom, and there's, I guess, 3 I haven't got to yet. So I wanted to share with you what I've been reading, why I haven't been around, and just some general updates about what's been going on in my life. So what do you want to talk about first? Where have I been? Let's talk about that just briefly. So yeah, like I said, and if you've noticed, I haven't been on for a while, and that's okay. I have been not been doing much of anything. I haven't been reading much. I haven't been doing triathlons. I have just been kind of day to day, week to week, month to month, getting through stuff. And I think I've figured out maybe why. I did go and have some blood work done, just general health checkup stuff, and it turns out that my vitamin D levels are borderline. My vitamin B12 levels are low. My iron is really low, and my cholesterol is a little bit elevated. So my doctor was like, Lisa, what's going on? And I don't know. But it all kind of started to make sense. I've had such low energy and really lost the desire to do training. I haven't done any events like races, like triathlons or any half marathons or anything this year. And I've usually racked up a closet full of medals by now, and like finisher medals. The trophy's safe. So, and then it all started to make sense. Like, I've been so listless, and I've put on some weight, and my hair is falling out. Like, it's been, and I looked at pictures of myself. If I can find one that I want to share, I'll put it here. And I know you can't see it because I've got it up right now. I do have a meeting later this afternoon with a bunch of professionals, so I don't want to have my hair down and look like a disaster. So anyway, just take my word for it. I have like half this amount of hair that I had 18 months ago. It's just been slowly falling and like generalized shedding. And I'm not saying if you're going through this, that's your problem, but I just think it's my problem. Is I think with my low iron levels and like the ridges on my fingernails, like it's all kind of coming together. So anyway, I'm on supplements. I'm following a healthier eating plan. It's the Mediterranean diet if you're interested. You know, I'm about 80% there with it. I'm not full on. I do my best, right? I'm thinking 80% of the good stuff, 80% of the time, and then, you know, life, the rest of it. You know, if I want to eat the brownie, I'm going to eat the brownie. So we'll just say that right now. So anyway, I'm feeling much better. I guess I've been on supplements and been aware of this issue for almost a month now. So I do feel like it's, I'm feeling more myself. So I just thought I'd make a video today. Finally, yay! So that's that. Maybe I'll talk to you more about triathlon and stuff at the end of the video if you want to stick around, if you're interested in that. But I do want to talk about the books. So let's get into it. Okay. Okay, first of all, I want to say 3 of these books are political in nature. And I'm not here to be political about you. And they are American. And I am not. I am a Canadian, and I have no stake. I have no skin in the American political sphere of what's going on. However, I do find it very interesting what is happening, and I think it's important for all of us to kind of keep an eye on these things, especially in big countries like the United States, and particularly if you're a woman. So my first book that I want to share with you that I've read is The Fall of Roe, The Rise of a New America. And I want to say that all the books I have here today are all by women authors, and they are amazing. So this was the first one I read, and I ripped through this, and I took lots of notes. Maybe you should, before I started filming this video, I should have read through them and refreshed myself, but this is a really good book, and it was told in like a story, like it had women's stories, and it had a variety of opinions from different women and their experience with this topic, with the topic of abortion. And it is so good. Like, this book made me cry. And for a nonfiction, I mean, what else can you ask for, right? So it kind of, and it being a Canadian, I mean, I remember when the day the Dobbs decision came down, and that was the case that overturned Roe v. Wade, which had been in place in America since 1973, and providing the case law for a woman's right to abortion in the United States. And so a couple of years ago, that was overturned by the US Supreme Court. And this book covers that. And I remember it happening and thinking, oh my, and it kind of came out of the blue, because, you know, it started to bubble up a little bit, and I think the decision got leaked at one point. But this book goes back, like back to the 70s, and talks about all the steps that happened and all of the things that went on from that date, from like 50 years ago, and the chipping away at this legislation that kind of got to things to where they are today. So it's, if you're interested in all this topic, I highly recommend this. It's by Elizabeth Diaz and Lisa Lerer. They're amazing authors, and I think you would enjoy this if you're interested in it. And like I said, I'm a Canadian. We have, we're a very liberal country. You know, abortion is just not something that comes up around here. Like, it's provided as part of our public healthcare system. Like, it's just, you know, we don't struggle with these types of topics as much in Canada. Like, it's not perfect, don't get me wrong. Like, yes, it's fully legal and you can obtain it, but sometimes it can be difficult if you're in a rural community and they just don't have the healthcare centers around that you need. Or we do have medical health facilities and hospitals that are run by religious institutions, but they receive public funding, and you can't get all of the healthcare there that you need. So, you know, it's not perfect in Canada, but it's definitely quite different in the United States. So I learned a lot about the healthcare system and the different views of the topic throughout reading this book. And it was just, I found it very, very interesting. And I'm not here to advocate for, like I said, I don't want to be political, and I don't want to be polarizing. But if you're interested in this topic at all, and I just think it's important to just be aware of these types of issues that are out in the world. And so that's why I read this book, and I really enjoyed it, and you might too. Oh, my nose is running. Why does my nose always start running when I need to film a video? I'll be right back. All right, here we go. The next book I want to tell you about that I finished reading is called Make It Count by Cece Telfer. Okay, this book also made me cry. So this is a book by a woman who is just trying to find her place in the world of track and field. It is an amazing story of her journey. So the subtitle is My Fight to Become the First Transgender Olympic Runner. So she's a Jamaican American. She is trying to compete at the Olympic level in her sport, in track and field. And it's just about her life and her hurdles. Like, she's a hurdle jumper, but the hurdles in her life that she goes through just trying to be treated with equality in sport. Now, I know this is another dividing issue. I know it. I know this is a dividing topic and people have opinions. However, like I said, I'm a very liberal person, so I ripped through this in a day. Like, it was so good. She tells such a story, and I mean, I was crying along with her as I was reading this, and just, you know, her dedication to loving herself and allowing that to be at the forefront of the way she lives her life, more than letting the people that hate her just because she chooses to love herself. And I really support women athletes, transgender or not, and I think this was a fascinating book. I learned a lot about the subject. I learned all about what she goes through and how she's treated. And Trump, like on page 2, she mentions Trump, like he's just everywhere. So anyway, this was fascinating. A really good book, and not very long. Roe, the other book I just showed you, took me quite a bit longer to get through it. There was a bigger learning curve for me. I had to learn all the acronyms and all the different things, but and all the different pieces of American legislation. But, well, you don't have to read American legislation, but, you know, it helps to kind of have a general understanding. This was, she did a great job of explaining her sport and where she came from, and the challenges in her life from growing up in a small town in Jamaica where, you know, being transgender and not identifying as, like, that is not accepted where she was from. And, you know, her challenges to get through college, and at one point being unhoused. Like, I mean, it was just so compelling. So and you don't have to care about track and field sports so much. You know, I'm a runner and I enjoy running, and I love reading books about strong women doing difficult things and overcoming challenges, and this delivered. So if you're interested in stories like that, give it a shot. I think you'll like it. Okay, the next book I want to read about is the third political book. I'm so sorry. And then I'll end, and then we're gonna get into other stuff. Well, not quite. There's another one that's political, I forgot. It's fine, it's fine. I'm showing you all these nonfiction books too, not only because I think they're interested, and I seem to be in a nonfiction phase at the moment, but maybe you'll want to pick up some of these for your nonfiction November reads this fall, so there's maybe something on this list that you might find interesting. Okay, the next book is a big one, and I'm about, I'd say, halfway through it, and it's called Confidence Man by Maggie Haberman, and I freaking love her. She's a CNN correspondent. She's an amazing author. She knows the goods on Donald Trump. So this is called The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America, and on the back is a more current picture of him. And it's really, I'm halfway through, and it's about, like, again, as a Canadian, when Trump came to politics and was running for president in 2016, and he kind of rose up out of, I guess, you know, everybody knew who he was because he was a celebrity at the time, and you know, no one in New York is a developer. He was on the Apprentice, Celebrity Apprentice, and he wrote The Art of the Deal and a bunch of other books. And so, you know, he got into politics, but it goes way back further than that. Like, I had no idea. Like, you know, the thoughts of running for the presidency, like in the late 80s and the 90s and all through that. So it's a fascinating book. And listen, it's not just a, like, full shit on Trump. Like, it kind of is, but it isn't. Like, Maggie does a really great job of just explaining the facts. Here he is. This is who he is. And it gets into his family history and where he's from and how he rose up through becoming a developer in New York and the different companies he's had over times in it. And she just kind of lays it out. And you don't have to be a Trump fan or not. And if you are, great. And if you're not, great. But it's very fascinating insight. And I think also the reason I'm reading this is it also gives me an appreciation and the insight to who he is and why he sometimes does and says the things he says and does to a certain point. But it's very interesting. And I am doing my chapter summaries at the end of each chapter, and I'm annotating and taking notes. And it just kind of helps me. So if I do, like, I haven't picked this book up in a few days, so, and I'm halfway through a chapter. So when I pick this back up, what I do is just kind of flip through the end of the chapters, like I do with my other big reads. If you've watched any of my other videos, like when I'm reading the Bible or I read Napoleon and all that stuff, then I can just kind of skim over my notes about what the last chapter was about, and then just keep going and not have to worry about what I've been reading. Because this book's a beast. I think it ends at just over it's 511 pages long, plus there's about 100 pages at the end about just resources. So anyway, really good one. I got another Trump book, I'm so sorry. Now I picked this one up. It's called The Trump Indictments, The Historic Charging Documents with Commentary. So Melissa Murray wrote this with Andrew Weismann. So Melissa Murray is a co-host of the podcast Strict Scrutiny by Crooked Media. So she is a NYU law professor. She's an amazing woman. I highly encourage you to check out Strict Scrutiny on either YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, because they're great. And she's, like I said, she's a co-host, and she put this book together about the indictments. Now, I do want to finish reading Maggie's book and this book before the election in the fall, because I may or may not have interest in finishing them depending on what happens, right? So although I'm pretty invested in the book by Maggie, I'll do want to continue that, but I want to finish that in like the next 10 days or so and just finish it up. I haven't got into this. So this one's is probably going to be, I guess, maybe a little bit more niche. And it will probably have a bigger learning curve for me, because it's going to get into state and national legislation and things like that. And I think it was just a good backgrounder if you want to get into the weeds on where things are at with the cases against Trump. And I think Melissa, it's just got the charging documents here, and at the bottom are all footnotes with her commentary. And she's just brilliant. I really admire her. I think I'm going to enjoy this book, so it's on my list, and I'd like to get to it this fall, if I can, this fall, because this is fairly, it's relevant to right now, and I'm not sure how it will date depending on what happens with each case, so I do want to get to it sooner rather than later. We're down to the final two, and they are not political at all, so if you're still here, thanks for sticking around with me. So I've got two more books, and they're both about women athletes, and I'm just so thrilled. And they're both memoirs. The Making a Count book by the woman who is the track star is also obviously memoir format, and so are these two. So the first one I'll show you is called Pack Light, A Journey to Find Myself by Shilletha Curtis. So she's a hiker, and she hikes the Appalachian trails. That's all I needed to know, really. I have no idea what her background is, why she wrote this book, her story she has to tell, but I loved Wild by Cheryl Strayed when she hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, and I met her at a book signing event, and I've like anything like that where women are out doing hard things, I'm in. So I cannot wait to read her story and why she is going on this epic journey. So here we are. I can't wait to get into it, and I'll let you know how how it goes. It's not a long book. I don't think, again, I think this is probably something I can read in a day, and it's a nice, it'll be a nice break in between all the heavier topics that I've got myself into with all the political stuff. And the last book I want to share with you is, again, another memoir by an amazing woman doing what seems like very difficult things. So this is called Coffee First, Then the World. One Woman's Record-Breaking Pedal Around the Planet by Jenny Graham. So this woman got on her bike and rode it around the world. I mean, I find it fascinating. So again, if you're, and obviously I'm into cycling, but if you're not, you just like reading a good memoir by interesting women who do difficult things, I think this is going to be very interesting and very fascinating. I love riding my bike, even just around the region here. I would like to be able to do something like this. It would be amazing. So I can't wait to read about her story. I mean, I've watched films at film festivals and things like that about people who, you know, ride from the tip of South America up to Alaska, and I just love stuff like that. So I think this will be really interesting to hear about her journey and the different countries she goes through, particularly as a woman going through these countries. So I think it's going to be just super interesting. And that's it. Those are my 6 books I've got going on. So like I said, if you're looking for something to put on your TBR for Nonfiction November, maybe you would like to consider one or more of these. Some of them are a little heavier topics than others perhaps, but not less interesting. I think if you're looking for a memoir, nonfiction book that will make you cry, I highly recommend Roe, The Fall of Roe, or Cece's book, Make It Count. And I'll keep you posted on the other ones. And I do want to finish Maggie Haberman's book about Trump, because it's truly fascinating. And anyway, so those are the books. If you want to hang out with me for a few more minutes, you can. I'm going to maybe talk a little bit more about my triathlon stuff. I do have a triathlon channel. People have asked me to share it. I'm not sure if I'm going to, because it's got like 5 people follow it, like my mother being one of them, right? Like, and I show pictures of the outside of where I live and all my, you know, there's, you know, I gotta be, you know, it's the internet. So I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'm toying around with thinking maybe doing something on this channel, maybe do like Fitness Friday or whatever, like, because if you're like me, yeah, we're readers and we love readings, but we, you know, many of us have other hobbies and other interests, and my other hobby is riding my bike and swimming in the ocean and going for a run, and sometimes I do all of that on the same day. So, you know, I'm kind of toying around with that, or maybe I should go back. My camera shut off. So I was just saying I'm not sure if I should go back to my other channel and kind of like clean it up and then start posting new videos on there. You know, I'm just a hobbyist, right? So I'm just sharing the things I like to do. So this week is my first week of a 36-week training plan. I have committed to, well, have I committed? I don't know, I haven't signed up yet, but I want to do the half distance Ironman in Victoria, British Columbia. It's not far from me, in May, end of May 2025, so next spring. So it's a long time to train, which is good for me because I get to start off slow and then build, and I've got a whole program. And if you're interested in that, I can share more video about what I'm doing, like I said, or I could do it on my other channel and link it here if you guys are interested or whatnot. But yeah, so that's my goal. I also signed up to do the Vancouver Half Marathon in May. This will be the 3rd time I ran the half. I ran the full distance marathon a number of years ago, like 5 years ago or so. So I'm excited about that. It's a great route. It goes through downtown Vancouver. It's lots of, you know, it's lots of descent at the start, and yeah, so I feel really good about even having the interest in doing my hobbies again, including reading my books and being back on YouTube. So I just wanted to catch you guys up and let you know I'm still here and I'm still reading. Not as much, but I'm still reading. I'm still here. It's a beautiful day today. I'm supposed to do a bike fitness test. So the week 1 of this program is all about establishing your base, where you are with your current fitness. So I'm gonna put my road bike on my electronic trainer later this afternoon after I'm done for the day, and it's gonna be painful, but that's okay. And then the next day I'm doing a swim, same thing, a swim test. You swim all out for periods of time to just get your base test. And then later this week I do a run test, same thing, just put on my runners and go for a run, and I'll probably go down somewhere flat, like to the seawall or somewhere, and run your fastest time. Or maybe even a track. Maybe I'll go to a track and run in ovals. That'll probably be the best. That's what I'm gonna do. And run in ovals, and then that establishes your base fitness, and then it kind of, the program I'm on, Training Peaks, then it sets like your training levels and determines like how hard to push yourself initially, and then you build from there. And then you do fitness tests every few months just to check to see if you're progressing or not. So it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Anyway, I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, so I'm gonna let you guys go. I love all of you. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Feel free to leave me any comments below. Let me know if you're interested in any of these crazy books that I'm reading, or if you got anything you've been reading, or if you have a booktube channel, share it with me, and I'll see you in the next video. And yes, I promise there will be another video. So keep your chin up, and I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you're seeing this. I was gonna say reading this. Wherever you're seeing this, and I will see you in the next video, okay? Have a great one. I'll talk to you guys later, okay? Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Am I in focus? Yeah.